That?
The Other Ordinary.
Can't believe it. Oh my gosh.
I'm Nicole Bear, and I'm an actor with The Other Ordinary. I think when I was little, I wanted to be an actor. My mom actually found, those memory books that kids have sometimes, and in those ones in those days, they asked you what you wanted to be when you grew up. Every one of them, I said actress. From about grade 2 on, started thinking to myself that it wasn't possible for me. I wasn't going to be on a Broadway stage because Broadway stages aren't accessible 9 out of 10. Any theater experience that I thought of doing, I was always going to be behind the scenes. I was going to be, set designer, costume designer, makeup, something, props, something like that. A faculty member here at the university, Kathleen Irwin, approached me about taking a class called Devising Inclusive Theater.
My name is Natasha Urkow, and I'm an actor with The Other Ordinary. Kathleen, she brought in Tracy, so that was like the introduction. John, Nicole, Kelsey, and Tracy and I, and we got to know each other. It was a class, but we were also getting to know each other and our similarities in lived experiences, and then we wrote our first show together.
My name is Kelsey Copper, and I'm an actor in Mind Have. Just kind of went into the class thinking, okay, so I'm gonna act now. What does that look like for me with someone with significant physical disabilities or limitations?
And not having to do anything, just relaxing. That's right, just finding the support of the chair.
My name is Tracy Foster, and I am the founder and artistic director of The Other Ordinary. I pretty quickly recognized that we had a theater company from that show that was created in that 3.5 months. And I also knew I had begun to develop relationship with crip artists who were really interested in being professional artists.
I'm John Loeppky, and I'm an actor with The Other Ordinary. Before the first show that we did, Neither Heroes Nor Any People, when we did our first sort of end of class performance, which is what we all thought that was all it was going to be, right? Class didn't have an idea of a company, didn't have an idea of things moving forward.
And that's where The Other Ordinary was kind of born.
The Other Ordinary is a theater company of individual crip artists who are really interested in and engaged in using personal narrative to transform the understanding of what it is to live with a disability.
The company meets once a month on a regular basis to just continue building things. Usually always meet at the Artesian because it's very accessible and it's kind of like a second theater home to us. As we've matured as a company, our content has matured. I think as we've developed as artists and as a professional company, we're now making professional work. Whereas before we were still ironing out kinks and developing as artists and becoming more mature as professionals. So I think that this show is on a much higher scale than our past work, which is why it's also so important that we're still devising it, we're fixing it, we're building on it, and we're making it better and more developed.
I'm going to take the word nice, not out. I'm going to say, what if she were really kind?
I was as surprised as anybody else at the outcome of, especially Natasha, being given that prompt. What if she was nice? What if she was nice? And I can't wait to have time to talk to Natasha about it because, some of what happened as a result of that little prompt, and it is really subtle and it's frivolous, and sometimes it just doesn't do anything, and that's totally okay. But today, it just shifted the whole thing, right on its head, and blew all of the preconceived sort of ideas that we end up with when we rehearse and perform something for a long time. It just shifted them 100%.
You look like a strong man.
Well, thank you.
Did you work out?
A little bit, when I can.
Good. You'll need to be when you're breaking your back, having to lift your woman in and out of bed because she can't walk. Oh, real cute.
I usually play that scene very angry and just kind of like attack mode. And so when I was given the direction to be kind, to be nice, it was so strange, so weird. That's always fun. Like, I like that happening as an actor because it means that, like, it's working or it's doing something, right?
I'm Tori Lahid, and I am an actor with The Other Ordinary. Natasha was always in a power chair, and we all kind of learned that it was kind of cool how she would tell me where to go in her manual chair.
Can you bring me out? You don't really give up, do you?
Well, I haven't exactly
Was
tried
it
that
a
hard.
dare?
What are you talking about?
And that's an example of playing around and discovering, this is actually a cool concept we can go for. Kind of like showing a little bit more of the caretaker just listening to the person in the wheelchair to help them escort where to go. And I thought it was a really cool idea.
To start the day, we do a warm-in that usually involves breathing and voice exercises. Today we moved into some authentic movement. Then we moved into some vocal and sound work, which relates back to our show in general. We had some great percussionists, harmonica player in today, really thinking about, where could we take this script as we build up towards our next performance.
It's great, Maria, because there it comes. Yeah, let yourself be that curious, and in a way, let it be that awkward. Yeah, because it's in the context of the show, it's a new relationship.
As it was staged originally, Maria and I are next to each other, and sort of the idea is that this is a new relationship, and I'm trying to sink into her and tell her this very difficult story about domestic violence. But domestic violence, like I learned it, didn't look like this.
I'm Maria Doyle. Like at the start, we were just touching hands, and so it's to take kind of away every other sensation and just focus on exploring what it feels like to touch somebody else and the surface of their skin on your skin. And I like to move around a lot, and so doing something like that, it slows everything down and kind of like internalizes it a little bit more, and so you get a bit of a different rehearsal kind of process out of it and kind of see where that takes you in that moment.
It looked like a man hitting a woman. Not two disabled people fighting over dirty dishes in the sink. And her pushing me out of my chair.
The Other Ordinary will be back in a moment. The Other Ordinary.
It came aware to us that there's this whole idea of relationships and sensuality and sexuality with disability that is totally missing in what's talked about in society, in schools, but also in our company show. That need is kind of what brought on Mind to Have.
Currently, the project that we're working on is Mind to Have, and Mind to Have Sexuality and Circumstances is the full title. It's a theater project that we put together over a 2-year period.
For myself, writing my piece for Mind to Have was really difficult. I talk about my marriage and how it, at the time, kind of seemed like it was falling apart. And it talks about, why is this happening? What am I going to do about it? And it was a very personal scene.
No business in the bedrooms of the nation. I wish home care would have listened.
People with disabilities are infantilized and kind of, put in the same place as children, right? And so it brings awareness to the idea of like, no, actually, people with disabilities fall in love too. We have sex just as much as you. Just, I guess, what was missing in the last show.
Interesting, because adding this layer gives it perhaps just way more space to actually go somewhere, rather than, balancing like just the levels of anger.
Acting was always in my blood, I guess you could say. I went to an art school in Edmonton for performing, cheerleading, and acting. And then at 18, I sustained a spinal cord injury in a car crash. I would think I was asked by therapists, like, well, what did you do before your crash? And I was like, I was in acting and modeling. And they were like, that had nothing to say, right? Because it's just awkward, right? You can't do that now.
I think people still to this day, in 2019, think that we sit either in an institution or in our rocking chair or whatever and watch TV all day. I think that they think that we're not capable of doing anything, really. And all of us in this company are proving otherwise.
The importance of having a touring professional company is huge. Myself, like coming out of the able-bodied community and then going and entering into the disabled community, at first it was kind of unfathomable that people were okay with saying no to you because you have a disability.
When we travel with 4 accessible vans, 2 chairlifts. Disabled theater so often is very centralized and localized because there are just so many. There are transport barriers, there are financial barriers. 60% of disabled people in Canada are unemployed or underemployed. We can plan for everything, and on every trip something happens. And it's not like, oh, we got the wrong Korean food. It's, that performer's ill. Can they perform today? How do we adapt the show if we're going up in 45 minutes and somebody has had a flare-up of their disability and being on stage is going to be difficult for them? Like, how do we balance all of those things and keep everybody safe and healthy, and still putting forward a creative product that we're happy with as artists and that the audience can interact with?
This whole process of like revamping the Mind to Have has been like, and so it's good. It feels good. I'm excited to see what will come out of this one. A lot of times people will, like when they hear of our group, they don't realize that it's non-visible as well as visible. So I kind of already get put into a different category than Natasha, Nicole, and John, and Kelsey. Like, I have ADHD, so like mine's a bit more. I almost feel like I need to like explain my portion, my presence in this group, if anything.
I'm Ammanda Zelinski, and I'm an actor with The Other Ordinary. It actually reminds me of one of our lines from the show, because there's me and another friend of ours named Maria. We just go, we're flawed, and then we turn to everyone else. You just can't see ours. And that just nails it to a T, because not every disability you can see.
What are we saying no to?
To negative energy.
Great. Let's say no to negative energy. Here we go. These 6 humans that make up The Other Ordinary, they're extraordinary to me because of their willingness to not push through, but to be with the discomfort, the awkwardness, and the barriers patiently and sometimes painfully until we find our way into the other side, or the goods in which we are wanting to cultivate for the art.
The Other Ordinary will be back in a moment. The Other Ordinary.
That's okay, but you've got like 4 actions now. You don't have to be talking through them. It's probably more interesting than your line anyway. Well, it's true.
Everyone's here at the Artesian getting ready for the performance, and we've got a very, very text-heavy show, like our first one. And there's some nice theater happening within that, theatrical moments, but I'd like that way amped up by movement, by music, and by projection and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to see what does that mean, because I don't have any idea today. I'm going to go backstage and check in with the actors now. That part, in the whole thing, you managed for it to be a bit warmer and more moist. That was dead on, yeah. So keep that moving and start it right from the top of the play. So I know it's odd, but just let yourself go with the and find some pleasure in it. It's a warm up, really. Okay. For the coming out with your chair.
Yeah.
Just a tiny bit less animated this time.
Okay.
It's all good.
Okay.
But just remember when you pop up from underneath underneath the piano.
Yeah.
You're looking around to see if coast is clear for you to come out and have your fun. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, it's about 3 minutes.
The way I think of it is this could be someone in the audience's first time seeing the show. So we want it to be as fresh for them, as fresh for us as it is for them.
So we've got members of the community and some of our other program participants out in the audience, and we're just kind of getting set up, ready to go. Projections are ready, sound's ready, lights are ready, so time to get the show on the road. Wheeling, walking, jumping, rolling.
All right, standing by.
The stage lights dim and the actors take their places. John, who uses a wheelchair, twirls Maria as they dance to signify the start of their romantic relationship.
I don't know, but domestic violence like I'd learned it didn't look like this.
And what did it look like?
It looked like a man hitting a woman, not two disabled people fighting over dirty dishes in the sink, and her
pushing you out of your chair.
Right. I didn't leave right away.
Why not?
I think I was scared to be alone. It's important to me that those kids of varying abilities and disabilities in the room can see somebody who kind of sort of looks like them, sounds like them, talks like them in a way, that they see that somebody can be doing that. They see that that is a possibility and that they can have that kinship with somebody that's older than them.
Mike, who is able-bodied, walks up to Natasha, who uses a wheelchair, and begins the scene they have been rehearsing.
I just wanted to say hi.
Oh, you feel sorry for me.
No, not at all.
Or is it a fetish thing?
A what?
It's a fetish thing, for sure.
Is it a fetish thing?
Yeah.
I've heard of guys like you getting off on women that can't run away. I am paralyzed.
Look, I get that, okay? I didn't ask you to marry me.
Oh, well, you better put a ring on it now, honey. Go back over there. Because there's nothing cute about paralysis. So let me set you in the right direction as you turn around and walk the other way because you can. Yeah.
That end show is a disaster or a flop or, some crazy problems with tech or anything. It's like, that's okay. Because we grew as people, we grew as artists throughout the process, and that the development was the most important part of the journey.
Kelsey performs center stage.
I haven't looked in the mirror yet. Most days I don't. Because I either run out of time, because I only have home care for so long. Eventually, I just stopped looking. And I guess some days that's a problem. Is it a problem today? Be honest. Thank you. educating people about disability is actually one of my big passions, and I believe through acting we can actually not only say words but demonstrate different things it might have.
Up until this point, I've watched quite a substantial amounts of these suggested movies, including my very first French subtitle movie. Who knew reading could be so much fun?
The work that we've done so far has a message, and once we put that out into the world, if one person hears that message and it changes the way they think, I've done my job. And that makes me happy, and that's why I do what I do.
I thought it was going to last forever until home care decided to put dynamite in the rabbit hole and force us to get separate hospital beds. Pretty soon, the lovemaking only happened on Valentine's Day and birthdays. Maybe if I would have tried harder, or we would have spent more time together, we wouldn't have drifted apart.
John sits in a chair center stage.
After all, darling, what do I have to offer?
In short,
Maria leans over to hug him.
a lot.
We have had more people say this almost verbatim than I can count. I will never think of disability in the same way that I did prior to walking into this show. This has changed my view of disability completely. It's a massive thing to witness a message that we've given being an impetus for an understanding that was convoluted by barrier.
I am still able to express my love and be loved in return. We all are. No matter what, love is everywhere you look. It is yours and mine to have.
Ammanda sits at the piano and she turns to play.
It's a pretty brave show. We're excited to do that. And for the artists in the company, the actors, if they can allow these stories to come through, be cultivated in a way that are transformed into stories for the stage, and go out and act their own stories together, if they can hold that, feel good to go for a lot of things afterwards.
Written and directed by Adrian Halter, produced by Halter Media Incorporated, Director of Photography, Adrian Halter, Second Camera, Joel Tabac, Sound Recordists, Ruben Rojos Almendares, David Roman, edited by Joel Tabac, Assistant Editors, Mark Beattie, Lindsay Holmson, Media Accessibility Specialist, Simone Cupid, Regional Content Specialist, Jim Crisco, Coordinating Producer, Jennifer Johnson, Director Production, Kara Nye, Director Programming, Brian Perdue, VP Programming and Production, John Melville, President and CEO, David Arrington. Copyright 2019, Accessible Media Incorporated.